Key finding from the work that I do, and I always return to the breath because it's where my beginning healing occurred. There are many different ways of using the breath. And so depending on where that client is, what kind of breath work helps them is very important. So I've learned this through my own experience, and I continue it both with my clients and with teaching. There is no one exact pattern because it depends on the moment and the need of the persons involved. I'd like to again go back to the breath, and I mentioned this earlier. A 2023 National Health Institute research evidence that controlled breathing practices reduce stress and enhance mood. And this is very important because this is something that everybody can do, and it can also, the results can be easily measured. So for me, this is some of the most important research there is because it brings us back to our breath, brings us back to ourselves, as opposed to a machine doing the work for us and missing an opportunity for authentic human development. In quantum science and quantum neuroscience, so all the different research that's going on, learn more about being a human being and learn more about healing. It's a big journey. I think it's very important that we consider the breath. A 2023 NHI research evidence that controlled breathing practices reduce stress and enhance mood. The APA has good research on mindfulness practices as well as good mindfulness meditation being aligned with the breath. This is very important because it grounds it in our body. The quantum field and knowledge that we're getting from that is helping to open the field and knowing that there is much more than we have previously recognized. And so when we have that, it gets us out of stuck places because we realize we have to have open minds that lead us toward further discoveries. This is important as it leads to greater wholeness. For me, healing is about attaining greater wholeness. I'm never quite sure what evidence-based approaches really are because there's a narrowing of what's accepted and what's not. For instance, I've been mentioning a lot about breath. Breath has been in all the spiritual traditions at a deeper level for several thousand years. That's darn good research. Whereas there's a major influence on cognitive, which is all about the mind and changing mental states. But how do we really change mental states if there's a need being neglected, not heard? So again, can the breathing slow us down to be able to listen to our deeper selves? I do this in my work all the time and in my classes, and have a book on this called, I can't remember the title at the moment, so it was my first book actually, and it's about combining psychology with ancient wisdom traditions. And this is very important because the whole process for me, what sticks out mostly is alchemy. And alchemy, which is the balancing of the opposites, which is a very big central issue in Taoism. How do we not over-respond? How do we go more with the flow? And how do we balance the opposites? Many problems are occurring because we're unable to do this. We're unable to hold a certain center. So I always include that in my practice with my clients, in my teaching of my classes, and with myself, which is ultimately most important. I'm reminded of a Pakistani client. She has experienced non-ordinary excitement in her nervous system that is unexplained through current scientific examination. She feels much uncontrolled energy on and off. She was referred to me as I know a bit more about the odd ways the body and nervous system emanate during transformational experiences. Psychospiritual awakening, you might call it. I follow depth psychology as I believe in alchemy, guidance from ancient and modern mythologies as well. It made a big difference as how I integrated these things in our sessions so that she understands herself and is no longer just identifying with, oh, there's something wrong with me. And instead, she's freeing herself not only from that, but from limited cultural paradigms and awakening to the sense that her body is teaching her and she is learning through this experience. This is important as it leads to greater wholeness and authentic healing. It's actually crucial and at its core. All of the ancient mythologies, all of the ancient religious teachings all point to some kind of self-spiritual discovery. So how do we know that? Very often it is our problems that lead us to asking questions that there may be something more. So as we combine the use of what technologies that show us how what we're integrating is evidencing in the body, evidencing more calm, evidencing more coherence within, these are really important. So combining ancient religion, ancient spiritual teachings, and teachings that include the breath and the mythologies are very important to create this wholeness. So a little bit more on that combination. Basing it on mythology, if we look at the Greek mythology of Chiron, the wounded healer, and Chiron was wounded, and then he was wounded by abandonment by his mother in the beginning, and then a second wounding by a poison arrow, and all of this was going to remain within him forever. It wasn't like it disappeared, but despite it, he became a god. He was a god. He was a healer and a teacher of other gods and goddesses. So what does that teach us about how we view ourselves in terms of the problems we address? There are models in mythology that can help us integrate. I have to go back to the breath, but I would also say moving the body in a way that brings in the breath and links brain and body, mind and body, and I do this a lot with myself and with my clients. Well, that's where a lot of stress occurs in both of those environments. We spent most of our life at home with people and a great deal of our life at workplaces with other people. We get stressed, things get evoked, and yet we can use these tools, especially the breath, self-awareness, mindful awareness of what's taking place within our body and our feelings, and begin to use everything that we're learning to integrate and to not overreact or to not take it into ourselves in a way that's harmful. These are very important tools for facing life, and especially at these times. Self-awareness is so important. This has always been emphasized in the deeper psychological traditions, such as Jungian work. Jung emphasized how important it was to know ourselves, how important it was to go within. And when we can learn to sense within, little by little, we make these small incremental changes because we're aware of what needs to shift. We're aware of what causes us anxiety. We're continuously learning more about the self, and in so doing, we're bringing greater health into our beings and into the world. I think the most exciting things are coming through the fact that we're able to register changes in the brain and nervous system. In my own experience in the 90s, I was beginning to use biofeedback a lot because it would measure changes that were occurring physiologically. But now we're going much further than that with our brain and neurological studies. But the research in this area can benefit assessment. But when the goal is becoming a healthier human being, much more needs to be considered. For decades, there has been a trend away from qualitative research Given the emphasis favoring brain and nervous system, we're in danger of ignoring this larger human need. You might say quest of self-discovery, which is enhanced by a qualitative felt sense of increasing wholeness. So we want to do a blend of these things. We want to make sure that as we advanced scientifically, we're advancing in our felt sense of what it means to be a human being. We need to, the question for me is, do we want to learn this from AI or from exploring what remains largely unexplored, realms of alchemical transformation? It needs to be a balance of both. It's still something that's being measured, because there is the fact that AI and all the various ways that people are engaging and will be increasing in their engagement can draw us away from what makes us completely human. Again, this felt state of the heart. So we can learn things. It rapidly gains information, as we're discovering. And this is all very good, but this is all mental processes. And at the same time, with the goal of becoming a complete human being, which is the only way we will ever be well, we have to look at both the good and the bad within AI and make sure that we find a way to stay attuned to ourselves, attuned to who we really are. You asked, what does it mean to me to be part of this upcoming conference? And I'd like to say it's an opportunity to join with others in healing, to create a healthier humanity. We need to keep building connections to help in these times where we see so many things we've known collapsing. It is our unity, caring, and the willingness to explore new healing paths that can open ways of being in this world. I'm reminded of the yin-yang symbol and its helpfulness, because it shows that there are many opposite forces that can be complementary instead when we learn how to hold the center and embrace them all. My hope is what I will learn in this conference will enhance that knowledge.
Nearly 1 billion people worldwide struggle with mental health conditions. The world is facing a mental health crisis that demands urgent action. When science meets spirituality, revolutionary breakthroughs are possible with new and innovative approaches. Theoretical physicist Dr. Rulin Xu and Tao Grandmaster Dr. Zhigang Xia have discovered that mental health operates through quantum principles and developed specific technologies that can transform consciousness at the quantum level.
The Tao science approach offers therapeutic interventions targeting quantum vibrational field transformation, including positive information cultivation, spiritual heart enhancement, mind processing optimization, energy flow restoration, and matter level healing. This integrated model bridges ancient wisdom traditions with cutting-edge quantum biology research, potentially revolutionizing mental health treatments by addressing fundamental quantum-level causes rather than merely managing symptoms.
This isn't theory, it's proven science. Former neurosurgeon Dr. Peter Hudoba's peer-reviewed studies showed dramatic improvements in depression and anxiety scores. Dr. Katarina Balonwu's research demonstrates progressive healing with Tao calligraphy meditation. Healthcare professionals worldwide are reporting extraordinary results.
As a healthcare professional, I'm really inspired by seeing how other healthcare professionals are doing it, because my journey with Master Shawn Technologies has been personal to restore my health, and I got some really good ideas about how to incorporate that in my practice. So looking forward to using that.
It comes to my own belief that with the new science of quantum field theory, that science and the spiritualities have come together. So there's nothing wrong in the way we understand our molecular physiology, but there is another level now that science has found. But that connects with the spiritualities. And here I've come to this conference and discover that there's now a whole technology being developed that works directly with this light source, what I would call the physiology of light. There is a paradigm shift going on in understanding. People are finding a common ground in wholeness, and we're using different languages, but we're talking basically about the same thing.
Join the revolution at the Second International Conference on Tao Science, Tao Technology, and Tao Research, exploring and elevating mental wellness, with over 1,000 healthcare professionals, researchers, and wellness practitioners from around the world. Discover next-level evolution and potential for mental wellness that will shape the future of medicine and healthcare. Experience powerful Tao calligraphy meditation sessions. Learn quantum science breakthroughs and network with leading experts. Earn 27 pre-approved CEU credits from the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association. This is your chance to be at the forefront of the mental wellness revolution. Don't miss this transformative opportunity. Join us in Toronto and be part of the quantum revolution, creating a groundbreaking paradigm shift that will change mental health care forever.